motherfucker in the first swing of the combat. Absolutely gutted that poor thing. Actually, I should clarify: crit initiative and then crit on the first hit of the combat, and then
The
crit
sneak
his
attack.
stealth roll to immediately go back into hiding. So that's bonkers. Um, but yes, you were successful. And then afterward, you were able to sit and talk with Ismark and Irina and get a little bit better idea of what you're getting into and what's going on. Really, though, the crux of it was that Ismark has asked you to escort Irina away from Strahd's potential clutches towards one of the several safe places that he believes there may be here in Barovia. The two that he pointed out specifically are the church in Valaki, which he was unsure of how much of a long-term solution that might be, and also the Abbey of St. Markovia in the village of Kresk, far to the west. You also secured a map, so you have a better idea of what Barovia itself looks like, and have determined that the extent of it is actually not all that large. It seems as though if you were to dedicate a proper day of travel, you could get just about anywhere with, enough preparation in one day. Um, you were warned fairly extensively not to travel or at least not to make yourself known outdoors at night. Um, Ismark was very nervous about the proposition. Irina kind of waffled and said, well, it's not as though you can't go outside, but you need to be stealthy because under the cover of darkness, there are a lot of things that don't dare to come out even in the weak sunlight of Barovia that you don't want to tangle with. Um, but yes, following your victory and your sort of wrap up conversation, Ismark and Irina had cracked a bottle of wine. You all shared that and some cured meat and cheese, and while it may not have exactly been a five-star dinner, this is the first night you've spent indoors with relatively solid walls in a while. The only issue being you did have to share the parlor with a corpse, as Ismark and Irina's father is still there in the coffin. I believe the plan was in the morning to see to his burial and then set off with Irina towards the west.
Sounds right.
Um,
That was
I'm
our vague plan. Although I don't know if there's other stuff in town we need to tend to before we go, like maybe trying to see about what supplies we can get from like the general store or something.
Yes, you could very much go to the store if you'd like, if there's anything that you guys seem to need. Um, and also, again, it's about a day's travel to Valaki. So if you go kind of detour and you take your time because it's your first time passing along that road. So as long as you have things for the day, you do know that Valaki is a much larger town. So it's sort of up to you guys. You were kitted out for adventuring, but maybe not for this kind of adventuring. I know some of you maybe more like the city folk, but like for example, I get the feeling that Irvir's probably kitted out for like long road traveling.
Yeah. Not
Given that you
dungeon
walked
diving.
across an entire fucking continent to get here.
My feet hurt.
My feet hurt and I want to go home. The only problem is I'd have to walk back.
The sun's too loud.
Well, if the sun's too loud, Barovia certainly has you covered in that regard. It's a much quieter sun here.
It's got a low pass filter.
Yes. But before we pick up in the morning, there is something that I need to address. Three of you on this evening, as you sleep here in the Burgomaster's mansion, have very pleasant dreams. Ralmir, Iokabachi, and Narlug, as you kind of toss and turn and you find places to spread out your bedroll, or somebody wins the rock paper scissors and gets to sleep on the couch here. It's not the most comfortable, but it is dry and warm. And after not too long, you drift off into a very pleasant dream. Each of you shares most of the same aspects here. You find yourselves not in a drab and dreary, mist-ridden place of, damp and misery, but in a sunlit field of flowers. It's a warm, pleasant summer day. Everything is calm and peaceful, and you spend your time just sort of enjoying, well, the wide open spaces and the sun on your face, and you, throughout the dream, have this general sense of being whole. Like, you've all been journeying for something, but for once that sits in the back of your mind and you find yourself simply present and happy. And then in the morning, as you wake, all three of you are beset by a deep feeling of emptiness. The sky is grayer seemingly than it was yesterday. The creaking of the wind rushing in through the small holes in the windows and the boards that cover them, it grates on your ears. It's waking on the wrong side of the bed, magnified at least twofold. And there's nothing that you can do to stop thinking about how pleasant that dream was and how unpleasant this morning is. Ervir, you are unaffected by this effect. And the three of you, as I just described, I would like a wisdom saving throw, please.
Wisdom. Ooh.
Crit.
Oh, the
Complete
crit from this
opposite.
man. You know what? All I'm gonna say is, if there's a person that should have the crit luck, it's the rogue. Narlug. All you can think about this morning as you wake up is that fucking pie. You want more of it. Like,
Mm.
itchy withdrawal levels. I want
Itchy,
more
scratchy.
of that.
Need more pie.
The other two of you, that sort of dull, unpleasant feeling will fade over the next few hours, but it probably will make the beginning of the day rather unpleasant. Narlug, you're gonna have to deal with that sooner or later.
Should have bought more of those pies.
I think
That's the first thing out of your mouth in the morning. uh, yes, you would all wake to find Ismark and Irina have, retreated to their bedrooms upstairs to give you guys a little bit more space, but you do hear movement above as though they're up and moving quite early. Orvir, you sleep normally. He's muted. I assume he's on his way into the house, but
So does this like feel like almost like a hangover, or is it just like
yes,
mental?
yes, well, it is. It is very similar to a hangover, but it's a magical hangover. But that's the idea. Not that the characters know, but yes, there was something in that that has affected all three of you. Although Granny did mention there's a touch of magic in her cooking.
She did.
That's how they get you. The first one's always free.
This one's always free.
First one's free.
So since I rolled so high though, does my character just pretty much can figure out that it's from the pie?
Actually, you know what? I'll give you that. I think that's fair. I was gonna say, you'd as soon as you'd kind of had your morning coffee, you'd be fine. But I think, yeah, you can not only that, but you are a sharp fellow who's been doing very well in your knowledge rolls. I think that, yeah, you have a inkling that that's the cause, and especially if Narlug does actually say, "Should have bought more."
Should have bought more pies.
But yeah, I don't know if any of you would remark on that kind of dream or anything. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But it would have been very similar for all three of you.
No, I could just be like, so
Something about sunny meadows and wind blowing reminds me of those meaty pies.
so yeah, so like after I see like we're all awake though, I just ask how like people slept.
Mhm.
I'll be like, oh My head is killing me. I think I had too many nuts. Ugh. Let's rub my
Get one.
temple.
Narlug's looking under the table, see if there's one of those pies anywhere. Yeah. Lifting cushions.
Did you guys have like pleasant dreams last night? 'Cause I was feeling great when I was sleeping.
Oh my goodness, it was the best. It was like wide open spaces and beautiful, and felt like all the weights of the world were lifted off of me. But I just assumed it was a dream. It's weird you had the same dream as me. Is that like was that like your dream?
Yeah, it was the nice sunny meadows though. Now I just feel miserable.
I know. Did you also eat a ton of nuts as well? Just like gouge?
Did you eat that magic pie?
I mean, I kind of dissected it. I tasted it. I thought it was the nuts though. Maybe it was the bar nuts. No. Did anyone else have bar nuts?
I don't remember eating nuts though, but
Maybe it was the pie.
she said there was magic in it.
Hmm. And actually, Rolmir, on your high save there, I will also give you the fact that Ismark politely declined and seemed to have some sort of
Yeah,
opinion about them. So you could ask him potentially more.
yeah, because as Mark also said, like the pie doesn't. He didn't want it because it said it didn't agree with him.
Mhm.
That's fair.
So we probably shouldn't be eating more of these pies.
Or bar nuts, just to be safe. Cover our bases.
Um, as you guys are kind of, having this conversation and packing up your things, Ismark and Irina would both sort of come down the stairs not too long after each other. Um, you would notice that he's carrying a small portrait, which you would assume depicts his father. Looks quite a bit like him, like same sort of, you know, blonde, shoulder length hair, big square head, strong jaw. Um, but, especially with that, seeing the very direct resemblance from him and his father, you'd spot again, Irina doesn't quite look like either of them, and to the point where she's a much darker skin tone, she's a very different face shape, um dark hair, dark eyes, but she is carrying what looks to be you would assume the family crest. It is just a very simple design, just a quartered shield, red and silver, and it has a banner over the top, like a scroll that says Barovia Village, and underneath the Kolyanovich, family. Um, they presumably are things that they intend to either leave in the grave or to bring with for the service. Um, and both of them are wearing just very simple. It's like a black, um, think like a blue ribbon at a state fair, but in black. Um, no decoration on it at all, but it's pinned above the left breast, just sort of a sign of mourning, perhaps in these lands. Um, and Irina looks wide awake already, and if anything, is kind of fidgeting with slightly nervous energy, but Ismark less so. Um, and he would sort of regard all of you with a bit of a weak smile, but Mike must have a new icon. But it is enough that, he does still look relieved to see all of you, and to that effect, would voice it, I think. It's wonderful to see that you all stayed through the night. Um, I will admit the pessimist in me was afraid that perhaps you would run off after promising to help. We have had similar issues before. Um, and Irina, actually, who's been a bit pessimistic this whole time, would cut in. Hmm. I didn't expect so at all. You all seem to be made of quite stern stuff. Um, I don't mean to urge you all to labor this early in the morning, but we'd be best to make most of the sunlight we do have today. May I request all of your assistance in relocating our father to the churchyard?
Um, yeah, that's fine.
I'll help.
And
You-
Ismark, well, the two of us could carry it. It's well, it's a bit of a walk.
No, you let us stay in your house though, so it's the least we can do.
And yeah, they would. Let's see. You have the Village of Barovia map in your inventories. You can see you're currently at the Burgomaster's Manor, which is sort of to the top right. Um, and then the church is over on the top left. So you'd need to come back down that hill and kind of wind across. Um, I'm afraid that, well, all of this is beginning on sort of a dour note, Ismark would say, but we are very thankful for your continued help. I know you never met my father, but, well, I think you would have liked him. He was a cheerier man than I, especially in these trying times. And yeah, he would just sort of find a position at sort of the very front of the coffin. Irina would stand near the feet, and the two of them would kind of brace as though they're ready for you all to lift. Um, and yeah, as soon as you've got all your stuff packed and all this, heft it up and head on out. Striding along the here, actually, I can just I believe this is despoilerified right now. Striding along the front lawn again, the trampled weeds and long grass that have sort of grown there have been kicked up and scratched around from yesterday's, you know, I guess you could call it a skirmish with the wolves. The gate still hangs mostly open. Um, Ayokobachi, I don't know if you grabbed your arrows last night, but if you didn't, now's a perfect chance as you guys are, walking back outside.
Yeah, sure.
And again, you'd find they don't seem to be damaged in any way. They passed right into these weird, not quite wolves, and then would have dropped on the ground as soon as they began to dissipate. But yeah, you guys walk down towards the village, sort of in the early morning light. It's slightly earlier in the day than when you guys passed this way before from the east on your way in, since it took you, maybe an hour or so to kind of round the woods and get a good view of it. Um, and strangely enough, it actually seems as though there are more hearths burning, more chimneys with smoke in them today than there were yesterday. Um, whether or not that is people keeping very early hours here or it's something else, hard to be sure. But you do notice that there's a little bit more like vibrancy today. The buildings still sort of stoop and lean on each other in age and disrepair, but there are more signs of human occupation. Um, and as you walk through the streets with the, um, you know, to the Burgomaster and his sister, um, you would notice there are a few people who'd peek out their front doors or windows, um, see this small solemn procession happening, and most of them would, remove their hats and sort of hold it over their chest or bow their heads in deference. It does seem as though the people here did care for the previous Burgomaster as well. It's not just Ismark saying so. Um, but yes, as you kind of wind your way uh, through the village, and then you have to go back uphill towards the church. Atop a slight rise, against the roots of the pillar stone that supports Castle Ravenloft, stands a grey, sagging edifice of stone and wood. This church has obviously weathered the assaults of evil for centuries on end, and is worn and weary. A bell tower rises towards the back, and flickering light shines through holes in the shingled roof. The rafters strain feebly against their load. the two of them would kind of cross through the outer front gate. And there's a moment of hesitation where Ismark seems unsure of whether or not they should just bring the coffin in, whether or not they should, uh, you know, he's clearly never done this before. And Irina actually would look to you, Ervir, I think, and question, uh, this is a embarrassing question, but well, as a man of faith, I figure you would know better than either of us. This is the first funeral in which I have been responsible for depositing the deceased at a church. Is there a proper protocol you're aware of? Shall we bring him inside? Is it proper to wait for the priest to accept him? You get the feeling they have been focused on so much else. This has been the plan, but they haven't had time to think through it very
He
clearly.
died of a heart attack, right? So there's no reason to think it
Yes,
would be a closed casket funeral necessarily, unless it's
that
like
is
already
correct.
nailed shut.
It is nailed shut, but it's not like they've sunk like 6 nails in, 2 at the top, 2 at the foot, and 2 at the kind of the hexagon. But it's not like super closed or anything. But yeah, he did die of a heart attack. That's what they told you.
I'm unfamiliar with the faith of the Morning Lord. And while I would assume that, right, I shouldn't say this here, I would hope that many people in Barovia are familiar and don't panic at the sight of a funeral. However, in many such cases, they certainly do. Is there perhaps a service entrance to this building, or is it only the front door?
As far as I know, that would be Ismark. It's just the front door. It is a rather rural edifice. I'm afraid it's, as you can see, quite small. But we can, I think we can take him through the front door.
The
Father
front door
Donovich.
would suffice.
Mhm. Again, it's trepidation among them. It's not so much that they're worried that like they're doing something horribly wrong, but
Right.
this is like you can see it's hitting both of them that, oh shit, we have to bury our dad today.
So Irvir probably would have slapped on his vestments over his armor.
Mhm.
Kind of how I described before, the loose clothing and everything. So now instead of just rather than just like a ratty old tunic, now it's like a still not anything fancy, extremely plain, but a smoky gray robe, pretty much. And so he would probably move to open the door then, because it sounds like other people grab the casket. So he would
Okay,
open the door and gesture slowly and gently to please come
sure.
on in.
As you approach the front doors, you notice that the heavy wooden doors of the church are also covered with claw marks, and they've been scarred by fire as well. I'll just move you guys to this map so you can get an idea of where we're looking. Go ahead and drive yourselves outside the front doors down here somewhere, please.
You might not have dynamic lighting on. I think I dropped myself, but I
I
can't see
don't.
anything.
Oh, you're invisible?
No,
Or
it's a
like there's nothing?
it's just a
I
black.
only have a black
Uh,
screen.
Yeah,
It's just black
if you
screen.
ever want to know,
I'm just
just
gonna
take
turn it off.
okay.
I don't tend to love it for just regular buildings. Like for a dungeon, I like it, but I usually do it like if it's crawling. Otherwise, I'll draw blocks like this where it blocks
Yeah,
light.
it's
I
just
know
one
it's
big room.
less graceful, but it's just, yes. There are doors leading elsewhere, but hang on. You know what it is? I didn't have light on you guys. This is fine. Today I was kind of rushing to be ready. Where the fuck? Where is Mark and Irina? There we go. No? There we go. It's Mark. Irina. Afraid I don't actually have a coffin token. That's okay. We will assume. Mike, can you move through that door or no?
Looks like
Okay.
it. Did it reflect
Okay.
for you?
Good. Yes. They're there on the dynamic layer, and you can use blocked doors, but these doors are unlocked. You open the front door. The doors open to reveal a 10-foot wide and 20-foot long hall leading to a brightly lit chapel. The hall itself is unlit and reeks of mildew. 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall, lead to adjacent chambers. You can see that the chapel itself is strewn with debris, and you hear a soft voice from within reciting a prayer. And as he is in the middle of this prayer, it's blotted out by an inhuman scream that rises up from beneath the wooden floorboards.
Hmm.
Sounds somewhere between a scream and a roar, actually.
Slightly terrifying.
Yeah, Ismark and Irina both have like a hand under the coffin, but immediately the free hand goes to weapons for both of them. What was that? Uh, Maybe we ought to set him down out here and investigate. And I think they will place the coffin on the steps here with your guys' help. Also,
good.
we are missing Rolmir.
I guess I'll just drag myself.
Oh yeah, last time I tried to drag you guys, it broke.
Okay. There we go. There I am. I'm right here.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. We were having that problem in our other game though as well. When the DM drags people out of the list, it doesn't assign control of the character correctly. I don't know. Might just be a current D20 bug. Anyway, yes, Scream. Ervir, you're the church man. I kind of would think you'd probably be the first to react here, but especially given that you opened the door.
He would definitely look a bit startled, and after seeing everyone else lower the coffin, he'll go ahead and whip out his shield, but keep the sword in back.
Okay.
And clutch his holy symbol a little bit in his free hand as he. I guess I opened the door, so
You
I'll
did
go
open
ahead
the
and
door.
step through
The
the
door is
door.
open. Yeah. The sound of the praying increases in volume in response to that scream. Yeah, just kind of pace inside. I think you'd probably be able to see far enough. There is a elderly man crouched with his hands in prayer, resting his elbows on the actual dais there. But he's kneeling down in order to do so. And does not notice you as he is, again, praying. And you catch that this is a request for protection to the Morning Lord.
Then I will slowly approach. Say, good
Okay.
morning, father? Is that appropriate for the setting? I don't even know.
Yeah,
That's just
you
kind
would
of what
think.
we're used to.
Yeah, they still use the term priest, so
Yeah.
you'd
Okay,
think
then
that tracks as well. He is also father, so
True.
yes.
Yeah, then I'd approach it, and not too loud, but loud enough that I'm for sure audible. Just,
Hmm.
good morning, father.
And as you're kind of progressing in, I just want to point out, Irina is kind of last through the door to back in, and she's carefully making sure nothing is coming up behind you guys, and I think that's what Ayakobachi is doing there too. It's kind of what I got the feeling. But Ismark will nervously kind of move in with the rest of you. This gentleman would jolt, kind of startled that he hears an actual speaking voice other than his own, and would kind of fumble in the middle of a sentence. And at that, you'd hear another, less loud, but another shriek from the basement. Uh, oh, good morning. Um, I'm afraid it's not the best of time if you are here for. And he casts around at the ruined, pews and all of that. a regular service. I don't believe I recognize you. Um, how may I help you?
Well, it may not be a good time for you, unfortunately. Kolyanovich, uh,
Yes.
Mr. Kolyanovich is not able to postpone too long. We are friends of
Ah,
Ismark and Irina.
yes, yes, of course. My mistake. Things have been um, difficult of late. I had entirely forgotten. Um, yes, I was saddened to hear of the Burgomaster's passing. Have you brought his worldly remains with you?
We have, although tentatively set outside for the moment, as it sounds like there may be more pressing matters inside.
Um, nothing you need concern yourself with. I'm not even gonna make you roll. This man is suspicious as fuck in his actions. Like he is
Okay.
wringing his hands, glancing to the side, fidgeting. Um, Very clearly something is off. To the point where no insight needed. He's scattered and suspicious. But Ismark does seem to recognize him, and will step up. Father Donovich, what happened here? Uh, um, as you know, the beast has many minions. They have well, they've wrecked the sanctuary, I'm afraid, and I have had little time or strength to repair any of the accoutrements for the congregation. Not that there are particularly many that regularly make it to service. Anyway, he adds almost to himself.
Don't you, anyway? These are all destroyed and that door was intact.
Uh, yes. Um, uh, and he just kind of immediately just falls out of the, excuses. The attack did not come from outside, I'm afraid. Or, well, it did in the beginning.
Are there any pews that are intact? Is there
Yeah,
anywhere to sit?
this middle one is mostly intact on the right.
Irving would approach him but
Hmm.
slowly, non-threateningly, and try to gesture towards the
Coax
seat.
him to, yeah, kind of like take him and sit.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, he would flop down for you. Uh, it. I don't even know where to begin. Um, my son, I suppose, is truly the only thing that matters here. He was taken by the beast. I thought him lost, and unfortunately, I was wrong. What has returned is both him and not. He bears the mark of corruption upon him, and I believe he is now among the vampire. He just, like, as you park him on this pew, just stares mostly at the floor as he's kind of saying this. Uh, I I welcomed him into the sanctuary, not realizing what he was in the darkness. And while his reaction upon crossing the threshold was not one of violence, when he walked into this room and gazed upon the altar, he reacted violently. Um, it was only through much prayer and, I believe, the intervention of the Morning Lord himself that I was able to temporarily subdue him. I have detained him in the Undercroft, and I have been praying for his salvation ever since. And Ismark is just, you can see it on his face. He doesn't say anything, but there's just like a clear, when it rains, it pours. And Irina, I think, finally stepping in and hearing some of this. He is a foul thing, and anything we can do to turn his gaze from Barovia village will be the best for the populace. He says, locking eyes with Ismark, who nods, but they don't seem to be super open with the fact that Strahd is hunting her in specific, it seems. But yes, given what Donovich has said, it seems as though his son has come back as a vampire, actually chained up in the basement. I'll leave that to you, what to do with that information.
It's just out of character question though, but do we know like different ways of like actually how to deal with like a vampire yet?
So we talked about this in brief before. You would know certain things that every know. This again, D&D is a setting where, or any D&D really, where the undead are a thing. You know certain basic examples of how to deal with them. They don't like holy symbols. Most of them don't like sunlight. They don't like holy water. You may or may not have heard some vampire lore. You guys did well enough on the knowledge roll to know that being bitten isn't necessarily what turns you. You have to be killed by the bite, not just drained. As far as lifting the curse, however, if that's what you're asking about, that is either some fairly high level divine magic or unusual means such as magic items that might bear the ability to remove a curse. But yes, it is a unholy magical affliction. It's very difficult to get rid of.
Well, just because like with the background stuff that started off with like stakes and
Right.
hammers,
You
though. So
certainly know what that's for, which is
okay,
yes. So a stake, for the record, is in terms of D&D vampires, it's not to kill them instantly like Buffy, but when a vampire, and you would know this because of your background, actually, I'm sorry for forgetting that detail there. When a vampire is slain physically, typically that's not the end of it. They will disperse into mist or bats or spiders, something horrible, and those things will seek out their place of permanent rest, that being wherever their coffin is. And then they enter a state of recovery. Um, it could be hours or weeks or months, depending on how strong the vampire is. But what the stake is for is finding them in their coffin and hammering it through their heart. And if that is done, it permanently disables them. It does not kill them, it does not cause them to burst into flames, but as long as that stake remains where it is, basically the vampire and the stake are frozen in time. It is a way of binding them and sealing them forever until anyone removes that from their corpse.
gotcha.
So when it comes to Strahd, that might be a little bit difficult. You'll need to find a coffin. When it comes to, he has not given you a name yet, but his son, it might also be rather difficult, given you don't know where he was buried. Or if he was buried at all. But in
That's
all of
only
this,
for capital V vampires, right? As
correct,
far as we're aware.
you don't know what may have happened to his son. You know, your character
Okay.
does not know.
Well,
You've been here
yeah,
before.
it was not even relevant to the sun. Just so I was like, wait a minute. I thought there were like some other things that don't do that, but
Such as? I'm happy to answer questions if we're out of character talk. If you'd like to whisper, we can whisper. if that's hesitation there. But
Yeah.
hang on, let me just do this. Well, that works too. You're correct, but again, you know, that's
Yeah, that's I
Mhm.
that's why I didn't want to say
There
anything.
is.
Because I didn't know. I actually don't remember
That's fair.
what the sun
Uh,
is.
but yes, your question, you are correct. Yes, there is a discrepancy. But again, through this conversation, what you can hear from below is like scratching and scrabbling, as though something is scraping against the stone of the undercroft below you. Um, I don't know what to do. Um, he's locked up, but hey, I don't think I have the power to cure him.
Do we
And
know anything about post transformation curing? Like, I know you kind of said
you'd need to
that.
dispel curse
Yeah, I
or
was like,
remove
I don't
curse.
know if there's a time limit on that either.
Um, he seems to. I mean, you can look at the destruction around the room. This is not done by a normal person.
Right.
So,
Well, I didn't know if you had to like dispel the curse prior
oh,
to
you mean
some
whether or not
like
it can be done later?
arbitrary. Yeah.
Um, so you'd be looking at certain things. So, for example, I'm just gonna pick. You know, he's a vampire of extreme power. This entire country is scared of him. Strahd, you cannot just remove curse and make him normal again. That's
Yeah.
something that's going to require a wish or a miracle. He is some sort of ascended creature. A normal, typical, lowercase v vampire can probably be just cured with remove curse. No matter the time that has passed. There may be issues with if their body is 500 years old, but the curse of the vampirism can be removed.
Be a minute till I get a third level spell.
Yeah, indeed. Um, you would know that's something that people of your order could do eventually. I don't think higher divine magic is a secret to you.
Also, it feels weird to be like, let me come back in a few levels. That sounds like I don't like.
You can phrase that
If it,
more in characterly.
well, it's more like I don't even know how to like RP spell slot advancement as a
Fair.
divine caster. It's not like I need to practice. It's like God decided I'm cool enough today to
Mhm.
get the big boy keys.
I, I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I would probably spin it as something along the facts of that divine mystery is not yet available to me, but I pray that one day it shall be.
Yeah. That's not very reassuring. That's not like, yeah, I'll be back in a month.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
maybe it'll work out.
funnily enough, if you count the time, our previous run through this module was 13 days.
That's what.
Char- Characters leveled up canonically more than once per day. Insane. Talk about the fucking hyperbaric or hyperbolic time chamber. Um, but yes, this is the situation. Ismark seems obviously uncomfortable with asking him to handle a funerary rite right now. Like, this is a man of his village, but he has no idea what to comfort him. Um, and Irina, you can tell, is a little bit. Ayakabati, you're sitting next to her. She's looking constantly between the coffin and out the door at the sun. She knows time is burning here. The question is whether or not you think you can do anything, and whether or not there are other options, but uh, it depends on what your definition of cured might be.
Well, I'll just be peeking out the door with her, and completely oblivious. He'll be like, "Yep, nobody's tracking us. Good eye, good eye," and kind of oblivious to the situation.
Fair enough. There'd probably be like a quirked eyebrow and a side eye towards you, but she'll just nod and continue to watch to make sure nothing else is coming to fuck with you. Um, yeah. I don't mean to leave you guys hanging. I feel bad when I'm not driving an RP conversation, but you've got
No.
awkward guy who doesn't know what to do,
I'm
man
trying
who's in
to-
a catatonic state, and woman who is over it. So
I'm trying to, I don't know, let other people get dialogue time if they want. Otherwise, I will just drive the entire rest of this.
My
That's fair.
call is I'm down to do whatever the religious person's gut call is,
Mhm.
but I'm always down to hunt something. So
Hey, Okabachi, make me a nature check. Okay. Even the weakest among the vampiric brethren would be a very, very, very large challenge, just so you know. I'm talking, offspring that are brand new, ripping through an entire guard garrison, kind of difficult to deal with. So you could, but you better be careful.
definitely couldn't do it without all of you.
Yeah. Um,
What
but
about
yeah,
Arena's bites? If a new vampire bites, does that count as 3, or does it have its own count?
where are you getting the 3?
I thought Strahd need to bite her again.
Oh, if he wished to turn her. Again, he's fed on her a couple times, but has not committed to killing her with a bite, and seems to wish to do so again, is what she
Yeah.
has said. But not to like metagame interrupt that thought. I just don't want you to think that it must be 3. That if I implied that, that was a mistake. I don't want to mislead you guys by making that
yeah,
seem to be
you're
a
just
thing.
being completely drained.
Right.
Oh,
Yes. The
okay.
key is that you must be slain by the Constitution drain from a vampire's bite in order to be risen again. And she, again, seems to be quite weak compared to what you would assume she was, given how competently she handles herself. Yet she is frail enough that a single wolf bite made her retreat. Who's texting me? Deal with
What
that
are the
later.
floors made out of?
Wood. Old and warped boards. Mostly solid enough, but there are spots where gaps have sort of formed, and you can see it's dark below.
We see a cellar entrance?
No, not in this room.
Or are like these like side rooms? Or are they just like more like confession rooms?
You want to take a look? You're standing next to one of the doors.
Yeah, let's take a peek and see what's inside here.
Okay, so you'll crack the door there. Roll for initiative. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, thanks, man.
As you kind of peek, this dirty room bed with a straw-filled mattress, next to which rests a small table, oil lamp lit. Mounted above the bed's headboard is a wooden sun-shaped holy symbol. You would assume that this particularly stark and Spartan bedroom is probably the priest's.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I'll open that up too.
so this is so it's like in the cellar, right? Where he keeps.
He did say yes, the undercroft, but that's basically cellar slash
Okay. So like this ain't gonna lead
underground
to.
burial area.
So like these rooms aren't like leading to that then, or
There might be. You could either ask or you could just keep poking, but
yeah,
it's
nah.
downstairs and you don't see a stairwell down. so it's got to be
Okay.
somewhere around here.
Okay. I guess I could ask. It's like, would you mind if I took a peek around to see if I could find? I'm
Um,
just curious.
uh, yes. Please look if you must. I don't know if I can face him again. Uh, if you wish to enter the Undercroft, well, I wouldn't recommend it, but the room closest to the door on the right, there is a hatch that leads down.
I'm gonna ignore that room for right now.
Okay. You're just gonna look though elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So that room to your right, an old desk and chair standing fully sunburned. A 10-foot long iron bear. Against the far wall from the door stands a cabinet.
I just want.
10-foot long
Okay.
iron bear.
10-foot long iron bear, baby.
Yes.
You broke up a lot during that
I'm sorry.
description,
A
unfortunately.
10-foot long iron rod attached to the north wall stands bare, suggesting a tapestry once hung.
Oh, okay,
Against
that
the
makes
far
more
wall
sense.
stands a wooden.
Not a
table
10-foot
with
iron bear.
doors.
Got it.
Not a 10-foot iron bear. Ironically, I think there is a 10-foot, but not in this room. And if you step in, there's other stuff scattered around here. Like you can see quill pens and ink on the desk. Also, there is a donation box, like you would, send around alms for the poor to the congregation, sitting on the chair itself, is currently empty.
Okay. Yeah. Take a peek at room here.
Okay.
Another bed.
Yes, another bed. This dirty, lightless room contains a bed with a straw-filled mattress. Mounted above the bed's headboard is a symbol. This not being lit maybe belonged to the sun.
Could be a possibility. Okay. Yeah, kind of don't want to feel like we don't heard what is down below, though. I don't think we really need to see it. I see all the destruction they have caused, though, so it's probably best not to instigate down there. So,
Yeah. And again, you get the feeling it's on another. He did say there's a trapdoor, so like you're not
yeah,
gonna trip over him going in there. You have to, but just so you know, you're not gonna like pop open that door and actually roll for initiative. I'm sorry for trolling with the other comment.
yeah, fair
This is
enough.
not your threshold of no return.
Okay.
If you were curious.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I guess roll 20 second load.
Oh no, that's me. It's not
Oh,
dynamic. I have to remove those.
eh,
I saw you open the door a little too late. Time and neglect have punched holes in the ceiling of this moldy room, which contains a few broken roof shingles amid puddles of water. And at that, you can see Irina just kind of like, ugh. In one corner, set in the floor, is a heavy wooden trapdoor that is held shut with a chain and a padlock. And as you open this door, you yet again hear that sort of animalistic, and yet under it, the voice of a young man screaming in anguish, echoing up through the trapdoor.
So,
does
or go ahead.
does he still like understand like common?
Don't know. You could try talking to him. He's downstairs though.
Yeah, like how would I be able to like say something like through
You
like
want
if
to
I
try
like
and like,
if I'm
because
like
okay, so the latch is like, or the door is like padlocked,
okay,
but it's not like super tight. It's like literally just hammered
yeah.
hooks
I
into the
didn't know
floor, and
if it
then
was like
so
when they padlock the cellar door in Evil Dead.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like you could
Yeah,
probably
or
like
like
pull
you're
it up
kind of
an inch or two and kind of call down too.
yeah.
Um, And that probably, especially if you like opened it and then kind of stood at arm's length, would not expose you to any direct danger. Because again, enough of a gap to yell through, but not enough of a gap to
Right.
grab you through. But you do recall that when Donovich was sort of explaining, he did say he's restrained down there. He didn't clarify
Right.
how, but he did say that he restrained him in the basement.
Okay. Yeah, I can read a few things too. 'Cause I don't know if just him being down there is him being considered restrained too.
Fair. Um,
I have
what I
Yes.
will say is you have a fairly high passive perception. You hear, while it's echoing through the trapdoor when you're in this room, because it is like there's a bit of a gap there. When you heard him in the main room, it was off over here through the floor.
Okay. Okay, so he is not close nearby. Yeah,
Probably not.
I'm just gonna like kind of like prop it open though, to kind of cover myself though, and
Okay.
like just I don't know his name, so I'm just gonna call out like just a hello to him.
As you do, the sort of echo of this yelling, the rattling of chains and scratching and whatnot, stops. And there's a weak voice that kind of calls out, I'm I'm starving. Have you come to bring me something to drink or to eat? And you can hear it echoing off stone walls from far away down in a corner somewhere. Barely a whisper by the time it makes it to you.
Uh,
And next to you, Ervir, even at low volume, I think Donovich would probably hear that and would stiffen. Just kind of, again, he's like borderline catatonic, doesn't really know how to react to any of this, but he's just like fully anxious paralysis at this point. Go ahead, Rolmir.
okay. That just for shits and giggles,
Okay.
just do an insight roll.
All right, an 8. Um, well, there's certainly that he has been described to you as the one responsible for all of this, chaos and damage in the main room. But the voice to you sounds scared and hungry.
Yeah,
Did I
'cause I
lose
definitely
Discord?
definitely
No, that's weird.
don't
Okay,
want to go down there to get him the food and water though, so
well.
I'm just gonna have to decline that for him.
And just
You
step
keep
away.
starving, buddy.
Yeah, like I don't know about all this though. You caused a lot of destruction though. Kind of
Mhm.
don't want to go down there.
Understandable. Um, I think Ismark would move over, and he's just crouched down and listening
Uh,
at the change.
I'll motion towards Ervir and be like and kind of like motion almost like to come over, and I want to stand in like a circle, like a little team huddle.
Irina will listen in.
Excuse me for a moment, Father, as we discuss how we may or may not be able to lend aid.
And as you do that, I think Ismark, still a man of the people, will come and sit next to him and just gently kind of rest an arm on, or a hand on his shoulder, not saying anything, but just providing a small amount of comfort.
And then Yakobachi would be like, so do we want to go downstairs and cure this guy, or do we want to just bury this body and move on?
See Irina at that mention, needing the bite wounds on her neck.
I'm extremely concerned about what happens to this village after we leave it with someone like that down in the basement. Well, Father Donovan may have gotten lucky, but who's to say that he doesn't break free? Who knows what could happen, especially if it was our understanding earlier that we would be leaving with just Irina and not Ismark as well.
It would be a concern, yes. Though, we don't know whether or not Doru would simply break for his freedom. That seemed to be the name of the son. Doru, D-O-R-U. And she seems to be considering it.
I would like to help this lad if we can. Put him out of this misery. Usher him off to meet the great guide. And all of the others in the village would be safer for that as well.
Narlock, he might have pie.
I do need a pie really bad. Said he was starving though. If he had a pie, he would have eaten it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe. Yeah.
But if he ate it, I'm willing to kill him to get it out of him.
There you go.
Irvir's gonna side-eye the party.
Let us cure this man with a good hunt. Nothing's better. No, nothing's better to hunt than a caged, animal in the basement. It's quite exhilarating.
Side eye from Irina at that. And she would look to
I
you.
feel like I'm with the
Irvir.
evil party.
Isn't? Well, yeah.
He did say last session that he wants to be a werewolf, so I've already got character-specific notes in my notebook.
Well, they kind of cross over. It kind of overlaps a little bit.
Sure. He could be put to final rest. And if nothing else, it would free him from his current state. I worry what Father Donovich might do in reaction, but this is a torture of its own sort.
I wouldn't intend to do it without his consent, I suppose. We're open to better alternatives if he seems vehemently opposed to the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't know what else we could possibly do for Doru right now.
It is undoubtedly a sticky situation. You're right, he does pose a risk if left. But go ahead.
Do you know any do you be able to draw any holy symbols near there? So if he tries to escape, it'll just kind of retract him from escaping.
To that note, you did find several holy symbols canvassing the place.
No, I can't do that. That's a 5th level spell.
Oh, okay. Because unless Father can put some holy symbols around here though, because these bedrooms look completely intact where everything else looks destroyed.
And he was. You'll notice as well that while much of the main is trashed, the actual altar totally fine, and he did mention that Doru was turned back when he saw the altar. And as Mark did mention, that Father Donovich was the one that helped him reinforce the house with wards. Which didn't hold forever, but did hold for a while.
Is this altar like kind of like bolted in or made out of like heavy stone?
It's a big stone block, but it's not bolted down. It is just
We are not the strongest though, but
There are
as I was
6
saying,
of you.
kind of this door over here though, if we go push like the altar, kind of block it off.
It's an interesting thought. The walls are
For,
stone. They'd be difficult to get through.
I
Something
mean,
as
like
enhanced
kind of
guarding.
like how there's like
So,
there's no like windows like over like in this room, is there?
nope.
I was saying
Windowless.
like not push it through the door though, but kind of like put it in front of the
In
door.
front of the door.
Yeah,
Okay. I think that that's something you all could probably physically manage. It might take some effort. In fact, it would take some effort. Might take a little bit of time, but yeah, I think kind of
and
eyeballing
then
it and eyeballing, the floor is sturdy between here. You could get it there.
is he still because Doru is still kind of. It still seemed like he had this little semblance of himself, though he did sound like human at one point. So,
Mhm.
so maybe there's still something there until they can figure out how to deal with it. 'Cause I still don't know exactly what we're completely up against.
Hmm. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the others here are fully certain either.
I've heard
Um,
stories of Doom guides able to dispel foul magic such as that, but of when the Great Guide may deem me fit to do so as well, I'm completely unsure.
It's not like before when we were just wolves, though we all had to deal with wolves one point or another. These are all, yeah, this is something completely different.
We do have the advantage insofar as that if that is the course of action we want to take, we have time to prepare as needed. We are in control of our environment.
And we have surprise as well.
Well, I think he knows we're here.
I was literally talking to him. There's no surprise though that.
Yeah, he knows he's talking to you, but he doesn't expect a giant spider to jump on him from atop his head.
Break
that
through the
is,
floor, that would
I mean,
surprise him.
Spiders climb on walls. They'll break anything.
I mean, there could be spiders down there as well too. So
you know what? Everybody
but
give me, real quick, religion, history, arcana, your choice. Vampire lore check. Or nature as well, Akabachi, sorry. That's pretty good. Ervir 2. Okay. So, Ervir, as discussed, and as you just said, this is something you might be able to cure eventually. Probably not right now, unless it's curing it with a sword to the face. But you wouldn't be able to bring him back even if you killed him and then tried to resurrect him anyway. Um, However, you kind of get to thinking, well, there are spells and stuff that kind of preserve a body. There are ways to kind of maintain something in that state of death, but not quite. and you kind of come to the thought of, yeah, maybe if we prolong this but mitigate the suffering. And I think at a similar time, Ayakubachi, you're kind of thinking along the lines of, well, in a more animal related way, they've caged him and he said he was hungry. Is he just thrashing around because he's starving? Is there a way to potentially feed him without sacrificing someone to him? And would he be a better contained animal if he were not?
That's true.
You can assume what vampires, yet what if there was a way to control that?
Like,
Could
like,
go ahead.
like blood to give
Mhm.
him. There's a house full of rats.
There is a house full of rats, and you could probably throw them.
You could catch it. We could catch some rats
Right up my alley.
and just slip it underneath the cellar door. I just
Inelegant but possible. Or harvest the blood yourself. But rats might be a little bit more palatable of a solution.
I mean, yeah, just grab a couple, hold them by the tail. Just wait, you got those bags or those sacks? We could just get a sack full of rats.
Rack sack.
You do have the extra burlap.
Does anyone own like a pig? We could just.
Are you referencing Spare the Dying or Gentle Repose? Oh, goodbye.
Yeah. Can you hear me
hello.
again?
Mhm.
Yes.
I was referencing Gentle Rose.
I didn't think that lasted that long.
Yeah, 10
doesn't.
days.
You'd have to
Oh,
come
Gentle
back.
Repose does.
Second level.
Yeah, second level spell. But that is sooner than third level. I don't know how your church feels about resurrection. So I don't know if that's 100%. It's a little bit unclear in the.
I did a lot of reading on it because I was super unclear about that. I was like, you're telling me my religion can't do a cleric's like primary fucking purpose? But
kind
I
of
think the
landed
way it
on.
is it's not your time yet. You weren't
Right.
supposed to die.
Exactly. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. Like, it's not necessarily the wrong thing.
Especially for Revivify, where it's like it's
Yeah.
totally cool.
Revivify, like, literally they have not, the soul has not left the body yet. That's why it's such a low level spell, and that's why it's instant. It is basically you grabbing a magic defibrillator and yelling, clear! And, they're dead, but they're not, like, fully dead.
Yeah, it's just some super glue to get the soul attached again.
Yeah, pretty
Diamonds
much.
will do that.
In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where, like, and shove them back in, that's Revivify.
There you go.
It's fucked up. Whereas, like, when you do revive someone at a later level and their soul's already passed on, then
Mhm.
like
You are
Kalimdor
pulling
has to
them
petition their deity that has their soul and be like, "Hey, is it cool if this guy comes back?"
Mm-hmm.
And then that deity has to also take the time to agree or disagree, and then off they can go.
And so does the soul.
Yeah, that too.
Mm.
Which is something that people often forget. Resurrection does have a save associated, and in older iterations, it wasn't even a save, not force someone to be. If they said no, it did not work.
Well,
I don't like the Gentle Repose plan.
he could
Just
just be
pointing it out.
an animal locked in a cage, just acting up to his unruly owner. Or he could be a menace, either one. Like I said, I'm down to bury our newly met friend's father, or I'm down to hunt him, but I want to
Yeah,
see what
man,
you guys think.
mutually exclusive.
No matter what happens today, we must lay our father to rest. If he is not properly buried, I fear that there is no chance that the Morning Lord will shepherd his soul away from this terrible place.
Yes, I mean that was the main purpose of us coming here in the first place. So
Mhm.
should definitely go through with that before we do anything else. Probably. I mean, he's technically not going anywhere in that cellar, so
Hopefully.
Why don't you ask Father Donovich about Doru's containment and what it took to get him down there? And
Yeah.
uh, if he
Mhm.
thinks that Doru may be a risk, or however you guys are looking to play this.
I like the altar idea too.
yeah, you just
I
push it
actually
in
think
front of
that's quite clever.
we could just push it there in front of the door. If he gets out, can't get past the altar. But I will ask. So, just out of curiosity, if you don't mind me
Mhm.
asking, though, how is he contained in that cellar?
Um, when he recoiled away from the altar, I believe I must have been suffused with the Morning Lord's light. I grasped my holy symbol and presented it to him, and for a minute at least, he was rendered unconscious or stunned, something to that effect. I grabbed what I could. There was several lengths of iron chain that I have used in the past as part of services. It is to represent the burdens that we must bear. Um, I wrapped him in them and bound his hands with a sturdy iron lock. Um, and then, as I believe you saw, I heard the door open. I used what was left of the chain to secure the hatch that leads to the undercroft as well. Um, I believe his binds are secure, and I can still hear them rattle on occasion. I'd imagine if he'd slipped his bonds, well, there'd be no reason for him to be touching the chains. I'm afraid I didn't bind him to any of the pillars, but at least the use of his arms is limited. And you can see, like, he kind of looked off as he said that, and there's like a shudder. So, like, yeah, oh no, I chained my. Um, but there's still that obvious like nervousness about what could happen. And you can hear at this point, I think rather than screaming and shrieking, just you'd hear an occasional like sob from the basement.
Well, we should probably because I do have yeah, because I do also have a holy symbol too, so to
Hmm?
subdue him too. So we could probably try to bind him to a pillar, though. I just don't really have any sort of restraints to give him, though.
Mm-hmm.
While Frank's distracting the priest, or excuse me, while Raymir's distracting the priest, I'd like to search this room again and just see if
Sure.
there's anything like holy water or any materials to make spell scrolls with.
Um, all right. So there definitely is material probably use, at least as a baseline. So you need kind of special inks and stuff, but there are a number of ink and some quills and stuff here, as well as some sheafs of vellum.
Any holy water stashed away in this cabinet?
No holy water, but if you're going through the cabinet, you would find actually two books. One of them is titled Hymns to the Dawn, Hymns, hymns, which, as you kind of like leaf through it, is basically a prayer book, all dedicated to the Morning Lord. And then you also find The Blade of Truth, The Uses of Logic in the War Against Diabolist Heresy by the Earnest Inquisition. A book that seems to be logic exercise, like work stuff mixed with weird and kind of racy descriptions of fiend-worshipping cults.
Very nice. I know Narlik likes these things. I'll definitely take these. Just
Sure.
nonchalantly just carry them out here and be like, here, check this out.
Ooh, some books.
So here are the titles for you, Narlung. Oops, I missed part of the description there. Let me see. There we go.
Nice.
But unfortunately, no holy water. Sorry.
No biggie. Books though.
Is the holy water like used for like making a spell scroll, or were you just using it just for him?
Yeah, just good to have on you, just in case.
Mhm. Definitely not a bad idea. I heard Irvir. What?
Irvir has some.
Oh, do
Yeah,
you?
you can make some too.
I do.
Well, and you do need silver. You need 50
You
gold.
need
I was
money.
gonna say it's extremely difficult. Well, yeah, you need silver specifically, not silver worth XGP, but question is, can you get silver?
Right.
Mhm.
I do have one thing of holy water on me.
Okay, so you have some. And yes, holy water, basically it's a thrown weapon. It's a holy grenade, basically, in D&D. You can either throw it at a target or you can splash it on them in melee. And yes, it will deal radiant damage to anything that's undead or weak to radiant effects.
Also, and then I have another, because one of the things that came with like my backstory though
Mhm.
was a steel mirror though. So is it like
Oh,
established that vampires can't see the reflection in this?
interesting. It's actually, let me think. I'm not 100% certain, but I think I know where to check. Uno momento. Do, 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 do. Of course. Fucking game. So I think that's really cool. I'm going to steal something from Dimension 20 because I can't make a decision. Roll me a bald D20. It's going to be a luck check. 10 or higher, yes. 1 through 9, no.
Just a
Just a
D20
straight
just in
D20,
general.
no modifiers. Yep. All right. Yeah, you get a sense that perhaps the sight of the lack of their reflection might be temporarily unsettling enough to stun them. Not necessarily conditioned stun, but like a momentary like recoil.
Like kind of like shock 'em, kind of.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
And again, if the goal is basically not to like fully fight him, but is to subdue him so that he's locked up, that could buy you the round you need if you guys are quick. Here's the question: what are you gonna bind him with?
Yeah,
There
that's.
is
I have hempen rope though, but I don't know if that's going to hold.
rope is quite strong, especially if bound multiple times. But you'd probably have to tie him bodily to the pillar. Like you're not gonna be able to put a leash on him and then anchor it to a
Right.
pillar.
Yeah. No, I was like kind of like yeah, like wrap him to the pillar, not
Mhm. I will point out as well, given that rope can be a very important adventure implement, there is one in this room. It's not in any of the description, however. Uh, there's a rope to the church bell at the actual top of the map here. Runs up the steeple about 40 feet straight up.
Did it always say rope up here? Because
Nope.
I did.
I just
Okay.
moved it. Yeah,
Okay.
there's notes on the DM layer.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, am I that oblivious? Okay.
Nope. Yes, the magic of the DM layer has allowed me to deliver you text that says rope. So yeah, I mean, if that's part of the plan, you can absolutely do that. You also might be able to. There's that big heavy iron bar. You'd probably have to like go to the blacksmith or something. But you could have that like bent into a shape where you could literally trap him around the pillar with a big fucking bar.
Like a horseshoe shape kind of thing.
Mhm. Basically, yeah. Um, or you can just block him up with the altar.
Does seem like the easiest solution.
I like it.
Sticks a little bit of elbow grease.
I mean, you're the strongest one,
I was gonna
Narlo.
say,
So
thankfully, Narlug's fuck.
okay, we got an orc here.
Buffest wizard you ever did see.
One day I'll play a muscle lizard. I just think that'd be fucking hilarious. You basically, yes, you run an orc or half orc wizard, full strength, dump int, basically, run nothing but self enhancement and just punch people. Basically, arcane rage is the idea. But yeah, so
Push
is
this
that what
bad
you
boy
think
then.
you'd go with?
I'm down.
Is try and manipulate the altar? Now, are you gonna tell Donovich what you're thinking? Pick up the altar, walk off with it. Uh, it
We're
is a
just
church.
oh right. It's like it's probably a sacred
And
place.
orcs just grabbing things and walking away is usually not very accepted.
Okay,
And you call it
so
5-0.
okay, so so we're all agreeing upon moving the altar though, or that's what we want to do at least.
Makes sense to
Yep,
me.
I'm done.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna let him know what we're doing though, because he's probably gonna be like, "Why are you guys doing this?"
Mhm.
So we are going to push this altar and we're gonna put it in front of the door though, just in case he gets out of the cellar though, so he
Mhm.
cannot pass through the door leading to the main church.
And you see him kind of like thinking it over, and that well, it will impact the ability to hold regular services, but there's not many attendees, and
I,
anything you can do to
yeah,
keep Doru contained so that Yes, so that he's not a danger to himself or to others. Yes, I agree. If you must do it to keep him contained, then I support
Okay.
this plan.
You guys want to do this first though, or do you want to lay their father to rest first?
That'll probably happen out in the churchyard itself.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah.
That's good. Do we roll like strength checks, or we just?
I think if all of you are cooperating and it's not the law, this is an old thing in
Taking 10.
3.5, taking 10 or taking 20. Basically, if you're willing to burn a minute doing a thing that all you have to do is roll good enough, you kind of just do it, but it takes you the full minute. If you want it to be on your first attempt where you all hurry over there in seconds, whatever, go ahead and roll. But given a few minutes to dedicate to this task, you will succeed with all of you plus Ismark plus Irina helping.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I can't move that asset. It's part of the map. But
I mean, you could probably like.
I'm gonna draw a
Yeah, like draw
gray-
like a box.
Yep. Yep.
So we can
So
get the point
given
across.
given time to actually pick it up, which it's heavy. It's a big stone thing, but actually, as you lift, you discover that the underside of it has kind of been hollowed out a little bit by the stonemason. It's like a solid block from the outside. To be here in place, and you're at the top of a fucking hill. So, in order to get it up and in place in hand, it's like this is basically like lifting a big concrete planter, like a big garden bed thing, but it's not impossible. So, with all of you, kind of you rock it one way, so people get their barely under the under, and you all kind of together. Uh, and with some grunting and sweating, you pick up
Um,
and plant it in front of the door.
Okay, I was gonna say if it was too much of a struggle though, I don't know if we could possibly lift it a little bit, put some ball bearings under there, and just slide it across.
That'd be smart too. And in fact, if you want to do that, you'd have to clean up the ball bearings afterward, but it would make it go quicker and smooth.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it doesn't matter too much.
But yeah, cooperatively.
But time is sincere, so.
That's fair. But yeah, you're able to do so. Did you want to also grab any, like maybe the holy symbol, everything, like put actions in your guys,
You
choices
mentioned
here,
that.
but
Yeah, he did mention.
there were extras. Did you want to like grab the one out of his old bedroom, maybe plant it on the wall in there as well?
Yeah, might as well.
Sure.
So how big is this like donation box?
Small, like
Small.
like a shoebox, give or take.
Okay.
He said, making a hand gesture much smaller than a shoebox. Carryable. It's made of wood.
Okay. And does it is it like labeled like donation box for the church?
Actually, it would be labeled poor box.
Or box.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm just gonna go in here though, and I'm going to take it.
Okay. You're just gonna just yoink it?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
he's not seeing it, so I'm gonna add this to my inventory.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Small enough that you can get it into your pack, if that's what you're, trying to just pocket it. And, are you gonna take the time to like check it out now, or are you gonna check it out later?
I'm just gonna like, yeah, I guess I could take a peek at it now.
Okay. Yeah. Just so you have the description, it is wood. It's very simple. There's a latch that has like tiny. It's not even a. It's like a pin that would make it kind of annoying to remove and pull anything out of without being obvious. With a drop slot in the top. It is labeled "Poor Box" on the front. Um, and as you open it up, it is very dusty. And in fact, you can see that there are marks where 2 coins were sitting on the bottom of it that have been removed fairly recently because there are 2 circular indents of less deep dust where they were. That's about it.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So you guys place the holy symbol, you place the chest, um, and yeah, it does seem that Father Donovich is through all this, like he calms down a little bit, but still the whimpering and the occasional yell has him very. Um, uh, Ismark looks to you, Ervir, and would stand and kind of step closer and just. We've asked a lot of you already, but I'm not certain he's in the state he ought to be in order to be conducting any sort of, well, proper service. Provided that I give you a copy of the correct prayers, could you perhaps help?
It would be my honor. Offer any aid that I can.
Um, he would nod in thanks and just turn to let Donovich know, we've placed the altar and kind of goes through the whole thing. If there's any sign that perhaps he's attempting to escape or is causing you, and he hesitates, further troubles, you know where to find me. I'll always be glad to see what I can do to help. And Donovich just kind of nods and doesn't really say anything. But yeah, I think you guys would all kind of step back outside, pick up the actual casket, given that the grounds for the cemetery are not on that map, but they are here, so you can kind of have an idea of what it looks like. Yeah, you would step out to the actual cemetery itself. Surprisingly, this area is fairly well maintained. Clearly, somebody comes and tends to the grass, tends to the weeds. There are a number of old, um, actual, like, standing crypts here. Individual stone buildings dedicated to specific families. And you would find, with the help from Ismark and Irina, the actual one family. Uh, Interestingly, it is originally, would seem, the Indirovich family that presumably has, over the years of marriage and all of that, become the Kolyanovich family. And Ismark would produce a key, which opens the lock. And within there are a number of older, in various states of disrepair and decay, wooden coffins, not stone sarcophagi or anything, plain pine boxes, just like this one. And they would find the proper place for you to deposit the actual coffin, and would open the doors wide so that sunlight can fill the room. And Ervir, if there's anything from your faith you had, can, and I won't take those words from you, but given that there is not like a extended morning prayer that I can provide for you to, I can kind of take a glance across that, describing what it might entail. But if there's anything you would like to hit from an RP perspective, but no pressure to do so.
I could probably wing a Morning Lord eulogy, but
Sure.
we
Well,
don't
either way, yeah.
need to make
we don't
everyone
need to.
listen to that.
Okay.
The only thing is that I would probably add in somewhere that with Helen Vorine tradition, he would probably
Mhm.
make a call somewhere either at the beginning or towards, probably more towards the beginning, and then transition into the Morning Lord prayer about, great guide, please hear me. I call on you to uh, welcome Ismar Klojanovich upon his visit to the city of the dead. It's part of the whole big thing for them is that
Mhm.
you want to die with a cleric of Kalimvor there because they'll let Kalimvor know you're coming, so he'll be ready.
Fair enough. Spend less time in the line, I suppose.
Yeah.
And yes, the actual prayers entail basically, and this is part of why they were worried about the time, that as the sun rises, uh, he carries with him any spirits that need guidance to the afterlife. And so it is that funerals happen at dawn, in order to coincide with that, cosmic indication of their faith. Um, it is part of the service that they request that while the light of the sun may burn bright enough to harm, that they know that it also brings life with it, and that they pray that this soul has been uh, good enough in life to be part of that gift rather than the pain that can also be associated with the sun. Um, and yeah, it's not hours of lengthy prayer.
No,
Uh,
it's probably like 10
simple,
minutes,
a
if that.
few lines, yes, and a moment just for those that were closest to the departed to kind of offer their final thoughts. And while they don't voice them out loud, both Isaac and Irina would kneel next to the coffin at that point. Same thing, bind their hands together, lower their heads, and you can see them both mouthing something, presumably, final wishes for the deceased. Um, and after all of that is concluded, um, they would step back out into the sunlight and offer one final moment of praise to the sun itself, and a request that the morning Lord shepherd his soul safely to eternal rest. Interestingly, they do not close the doors again. Um, Ismark would explain the light of this day should shine onto his resting place shortly before sunset. Resecure the court. I would not want to block his soul's passage. Uh, Thank you, though, for your assistance guiding him. And thank you all for bearing with us through that dreadful situation with Rich. And no, I won't be traveling with you, but I will see what I can do here. And certainly I will keep a sharp ear out for any other wanderers from beyond the fog. Help further. Um, I can accompany you to the outskirts of town if you would like. And Irina would just put a hand up. Brother, we know we must part. No, find me. There's no need to draw out any more pain today. And she will step up and give him a big proper hug. And he will hug her back. She's already got her pack and everything, just like he actually town never know what you might need here. These
Emergency.
four will, right? These four will see me safely to a place of consecration, and I will send a letter when I have reached that destination. And he kind of pulls back a bit and holds her at arm's length, and slightly watery eyes. It will be unusual to be apart for so long, but go safely. Stay far from the beast's sight, and I await good news of your new living situation. And he will just kind of give her like a gentle pat on the cheek, and she'll give him a kind of clap on the shoulder, and they'll put their foreheads together. And after just a brief moment, he will step back and right. I will check on Father Donovich again. Head into the village. Keep her safe, will you?
Of course.
I nodded.
Yes.
And he will turn and walk away before he gets emotional. She'll kind of, watch him walk off, but double check the straps on her pack. Double check that her sword is. Right. Well, I think it's probably best if we at least head for the road as soon as possible. Do you require more provisions before we head for Valak? We ought to make it there by late afternoon if we travel swiftly.
I'm ready for Valaki.
Yeah. Would love to grab a pie on the way, but
She'd side-eye you. Ah, I take it you ate one of Morta's dream pies.
Yes, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. Just woke up with a hankering for it. Feel like shit, but I would definitely want one.
They have that effect on people. A night of bliss followed by a day of regret. There
Sounds
are
like a lot of substances that I like to put in myself.
there are many within the village that are within the clutches of that habit. Unfortunately, you'll find her prices increase ever more with each that you request. I won't stop you, but I would be cautious. But if you are determined, we'll be passing bone ground on the way out of town.
I ate one of those pies. I ain't doing it ever again. Don't like that feeling.
Luckily, my gold says I probably won't be able to buy one, but if I have a chance to snag one, I will.
Beat up an old lady and steal her pies.
Hey, I've seen orcs do much worse.
Give me my fix!
All right. So, if you are all ready to travel, I'm going to pop this up again for you guys to see. I believe that should have shown up in your
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's in our
Yep.
notes
center of
too.
your screen again. But yeah, if you take a look at Barovia Village, you will be heading kind of along that winding road, past the Serpool encampment, where it was mentioned that you could find more of the Vistani if you wanted to ask them about, your quarry, Ayakubachi, since some of them seem to know him. But you'd need to head kind of along that winding
Mm-hmm.
path up past the castle and towards Valaki. You can see, she called it the old bone grinder, but would be the windmill that you can see kind of central on the map, Narlug, if you really wanted to go ask Granny about more pies. But yeah, that's kind of the
Yeah,
general
up
path
there.
you'll have to take towards Valaki. Mountain kind of going any other way but following the. But yeah, I guess I will just ask: is there anything to do before we leave town?
Not that I can think of. My ass is broke. So,
Yeah, I'm
Fair
good.
enough. All right. I need a little
Nothing
sneaky.
that should make us delay risking traveling at sunset.
Mhm. Do a quick sneaky DM roll. Okay. All right. You guys will wind your way out of town. You actually notice that this sort of western edge is slightly less ravaged than everything else. But unlike the east, where there's land and sad fields of barely growing potatoes, out to the west is just kind of but despite the sun being fairly high in the sky, mist is rising again. It was not particularly thick this morning, and it doesn't overrun the road. But you notice as you travel out off to the sides, kind of almost like it wants to crash over the road, but doesn't quite make it. It's thicker in the fields and grows thicker still as it is for well-traveled path. On this side, there is occasional noise of a bird calling out, or something skittering in the underbrush. This seems much less supernaturally void of life than where you first came in. And yeah, you travel along this long, winding path. After not too far, you would come over that little bridge that's there on the map. And you would find it's just a little stone footbridge that goes over the actual Ivlis River, which, given how kind of crummy everything else, the river seems clear and clean. See a number of moderately sized fish flitting around. It's not exactly like a reeking, muddy, gross thing you might expect to kind of match the rest of the aesthetic here. But yeah, just a little cobblestone bridge that goes up maybe 5 feet over to the other side. You don't really see too many signs of other travelers, though. Kind of go over back onto the road. And after perhaps an hour and a half of winding along and through the forest, which is thankfully at this point kind of cut back from the road, so you don't feel like the trees are really reaching up, blocking out the sun. You would find that fork that comes before the Sarah Pool. And yeah, you would spot a simple, like, seems very temporary road sign kind of hammered. It's just literally like a handle or something with a little bit of like a little bit of wood as a cross that hangs a small flag that points up off into the northern there that does say Sarahpool Encampment and also says Madam Eva's fortune telling services.
Ooh.
Irina would stop and consider. Oh, this is a reasonably long-standing Vistani at this point, but the folk there are relatively friendly. Not like who you've met in the tavern back in town. Cheery a lot. She would look at you, Ayakobachi, kind of trying to decide if you wanted to check in with them or.
Yeah, well, it definitely looks like something worth investigating, but maybe possibly later. I want to get to Valaki unless anyone else wants to go here.
I'm curious to check it out, but I don't know if it's worth delaying the trip enough.
Yeah, I kind of
I
want
don't know
to.
if we put ourselves at risk of not
Um,
making it before sundown.
It is possible it could delay us enough. Hmm.
I would like to get to town as quickly as
Mhm.
possible.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's an encampment that it does have buildings, but yes, if we were to stay, we'd probably wish to stay, unless we were to be quick in and out for, you know, just your conversation to interrogate whether or not they may Ezek. But you can certainly come back after we've Valaki. There is no hurry at all. I believe they'll still be there.
Yeah, especially if we don't find Ezek in Vala, that could be a good lead eventually. But I want to
Mhm.
follow this lead first. We can come back to this one.
Understandable. Then I say we press on for a while yet. And at some point, we should take a midday meal break. Won't do us good to be on an empty stomach if we come across anything dangerous in the woods.
You said these guys in the encampment though didn't seem particularly friendly, right?
No, they do seem friendly.
Oh, they
Uh,
do.
Jolly, very
yes.
jolly.
Oh, okay.
Yes. She was
Mm.
commenting that they are friendlier.
Oh, okay. Actually, I want to do something real quick then.
Okay.
It's not gonna take us that long. So, I just want to go up to. Are they just like kind of just like out and about?
It's probably about like a 10-minute detour up the from this.
Gotcha.
But again, yeah, you might lose an hour if you want to go up and back. But if you do want to talk to them,
Go for it.
not that far out of the way.
Not too far away. Okay. Yeah. I just want to just walk up to him and ask one
Sure.
of the friendly
Real
townspeople
quick,
folk.
are you all going with him, or is it just going to be?
Can I go as his trusty companion dog? That's always
Sure.
by his
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Why not?
That works.
Arf, arf.
All right. Let me find a map for you.
You say
So
they're friendlier, but it's their fault we're here in the first place.
it
We
is,
trust them.
but well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't know if you guys were if you were anxious about them. But if you're going 2 and you're leaving 2 with Irene on the road, that's fine too.
But I definitely can use that dog though. That might actually help with what I want to do.
All right. I will leave it up to Narlug and Veer then, whether or not you want to come with. Obviously, Irina is going to wait on her own.
Yeah, I will stay with her.
If Irina's
Not
not
leave her
going
alone.
in, I am not leaving Arena alone. On the
She
road.
will go in if you
Oh.
are all going.
Sorry,
I'm
you're
just
breaking
saying.
up a lot.
Oh, I'm really
So
sorry. The webcams are not freezing at all today, so it's hard to judge. Yes. To reiterate, then hopefully watching my Discord things. I'm sorry, I'm not making eye contact. Yes, she said these seem to be friendlier. They are not of the same sort that you met at the inn in town. Kind of shitty to you. She seemed fine with the idea of stopping in. Them. And yes, it's about a 10-minute detour to get to the camp, but it's not like hours out of the thing. So she'll go with if you guys are going. But what I was saying about her
I mean, this is kind of just like a
while
in and out kind of thing though. But
Sure.
I could have a dog companion with me though.
Mhm.
Um,
Right?
what kind of just curious, what kind of dog are you gonna turn into?
A common dog.
Common dog. Okay.
The most
Common dog,
common.
Some sort of
Oh,
lab.
Sure.
something with 4 legs and ears.
Okay.
like an Irish hunting dog.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
You just said common dog. I imagine empty PNG that just said dog in the middle. Like the black and
Okay.
undefined dog. Yeah, so a lab or something. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with it. Yeah. Or yeah, some sort of like just like
We
wolfhound
probably
type
don't want
thing.
to split the party if we're going in. So probably kind of follow, but I wouldn't want to draw a bunch of attention to Romir either, especially that
Yeah.
dog.
Because I got a plan of something I want to do real quick.
I'll go with him just in case.
Fair enough.
Yeah, are
All
you
right,
telling
so-
us what you're doing at all? Like, do we know to not follow you or to like lose your space, or like you just be like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk off and Yakobachi's a dog now, and we're all just like,
yeah, no, I'm just gonna.
Dog mode.
I'll be like, I just want to. I just want to check something out over there, and then have Lakabachi with me though.
Yeah. And then
Just
before I
wanna see-
change, I'll just be like, yeah, if you can get any
Check one
information on Izek, that'd be cool. But don't press it. Don't make it obvious. And
Mm,
then I'll dog.
okay, yeah, I'll see what I can do with that.
But do your thing.
Okay, so um, okay, so yeah, just I guess whenever we're at the encampment deck.
Yeah, be about 10
Okay.
minutes. You'd be coming in from the south.
Okay. It's a black screen, so I can't see anything.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this again. I'm sorry.
For fuck's sake.
There is nothing to hide here, so
Okay.
there you are. The road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted mud. Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of again. The canopy of mists and branches suddenly gives way. Black clouds boiling. There's a clearing here next to a river to form a small lake. Feet across. 5 colorful round tents, each 10 feet in diameter. Pitched outside of a ring of 4 barrel-topped wagons. A much larger tent stands near the shore of the lake, its sagging form lit from within. Near this tent, 8 unbridled horses drink from the river. The somewhat mournful strains of an accordion clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures around a bonfire. Footpath continues beyond the encampment, meandering between the river's edge.
Okay. And then are you trying dog ears?
Arf!
Okay. And then I'm just going to tongue. If you wanna follow me, I don't think that's gonna be part of your token, but we'll get the
I
point
wanted it
across.
to be, but it won't. Just
Wait,
look at the
go
face.
back, go back where you were. Go back where you were. Can you still move yourself? Ah, damn. Now it's all disjointed. Oh no. Ungroup. I tried to group it with your token, so it would all be.
Arf!
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, these people seem to be kind of day drinking and having a. The accordion is kind of a wheezy, sad instrument, but they're all singing, drinking. Just be
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
relaxing.
So, okay. And then we're just gonna say he's Lako's like right next to me,
Sure,
because I don't want to ruin his
being a
artwork.
good boy.
Arf!
I don't want to ruin his artwork.
Mhm.
So and then I go up to him though, and I was like, if you excuse me, sir,
Oh,
me,
welcome. Please join us. Take a
yeah,
load off. You must be tired traveling along
yeah,
the road. You
yeah,
speak
like,
much better common than the others do.
okay, yeah, because me and my dog companion have been traveling for quite a while though, and we are getting quite hungry, and I was wondering if you would be so kind if you could
Like Mr.
please
Coors.
donate to us though, so we could afford some food. And then I'm gonna hold out that poor box.
There you go.
Okay. Um, Clever. He would look at it and look at the dog.
Big puppy
And
eyes. I got like an injured paw.
go ahead and please give me your perception roll there.
Mine?
Well, you can choose to keep your dog. I don't know if you
The dog's probably not too good at deception.
right,
Let's see,
which
what
is
is
good if
deception?
you give him the help because it's 25 instead of an 8.
Alright. Yeah, I'll
Let's
give him
see.
help. Yeah, that's fine. That's my little thing, as I'm helping my big puppy dog eyes.
Okay. I need to see if he catches you on that. He is very drunk. Disadvantage. Nat 1. Um, you can see he immediately looks, concerned, like, oh, what a sad story. Well, I'm afraid, coin, to special to the Vistani people. It's not something we part with easily, but if it's food you need or drink, a place to rest, those we can certainly offer gladly. And if it is coin you absolutely require, that can be earned for a little bit of work. But he immediately starts to like grab some of the meat that is fire red and like they are immediately willing to donate stuff to you, but it seems like he said, coin is special in their culture.
Okay. Yeah, I'll gladly accept that, and then I'll give some to Lakabachi too, just so he could, so he could gnaw on that, and so he can gnaw on the bone too.
um, it is a difficult world out there. I'm sorry, and on such hard times. And as all of this is kind of going down, you're talking to him. That big old tent in the top right, the flap, why didn't that work? Will open, and what's the key to blow up a token?
It's either Shift Z or Control Z, one of the two.
Uh,
There you go.
Oh,
Here you go.
Oh,
An
jump scare.
elderly woman, big grin. She pushes back the tent flap. And young man, come here for a moment, please.
oh, she. Okay. Hello.
And she'd look you over, and she's like stooped with age, 4'2", like she's anything. The woman looks ancient, and she'll look up at you, blink once or twice, pinch your, and though you didn't give it, using her name, she'll say, "Interesting. I always thought you'd be a little bit taller. Why don't you and your dog come in for a moment?"
And then just quickly, I'm just gonna.
Ruh-roh!
Or perhaps she actually hesitates and looks directly at you, Ayakobachi. You might go and get Narlug and Ervin. Irina's welcome to come, if she would like. She's always welcome here. I think it's important that we all have a little chat.
Okay.
Ruh-roh,
Well.
Raymar.
She knows us.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just nod in dog
cool.
fashion and understanding of what she's saying.
Yeah,
look
like
at you.
I'll kind of like do like hand gestures though for Lakabachi though. It's like just follow me. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we'll go back over
Yeah,
to
let's go get him real quick.
where everyone else is at.
Sure. And as you turn to walk away, she smiles widely.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
constantly like
worry,
also.
but I think you'll want to hear what. And you can see in her smile, she's got like side and one down on the. But yeah, just wait.
That was a sick move with the prayer box, though. I like that.
That was very clever.
Yeah, but as
And
soon
he
as you
was
said,
fooled. He was absolute. But yes, sorry. They are.
Go from the church. That
Uh,
has nothing.
yeah, it's literally part of. No. Sorry.
You broke up explaining that.
Oh, I was just saying it's part of their religion. Coin must be earned.
Oh.
yeah, because as soon as it was like an old like dusty box, so I figured people could try to exploit that.
You can definitely run that scam elsewhere, but
I'm going to.
We'll run.
I
Well,
already assumed.
we'll run dog box once we get to
Dog box. It already has a scheme name. Oh
dog
God.
box. You want to dog box this? All right, let's go.
All right. But yeah, you'll run back to the group, and I'll leave it to you to explain what just happened.
Oh yeah. Also, and then once I get disguise self, though, we can make this scam work pretty well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Is it? Okay, well, I see Irvir here. So, we were over here talking to these people. The old lady over there knew who we all were. Knew all of our names though, and she said she had information for it though, but I couldn't get a good read on how suspicious she actually was.
Pretty
I mean,
odd.
if she knew our names, I would say that's 100% suspicious. It does not get more suspicious than that.
But I didn't know if she was like has malicious intent.
Irina would kind of stroke her chin. Well, I have heard tale that she's a fortune teller, as the sign says, but the Vistani also appear to revere her as some sort of
Some sort of what?
wise elder. I've only spoken to her a few times, but she's always been pleasant. Though Ismark doesn't prefer that I roam beyond the village, in my youth I came here many times.
It's possible she's adept in some sort of divination magic that we're unaware of. Maybe that's how she knew our names.
Was this would be something that Narlock would be able to do an Arcana check on?
Well, I think
I haven't seen it firsthand yet, but
yeah.
But like, I mean, like going like when we like going up there though, would he be
Oh.
able to do like Arcana check on her?
Yeah, if you get more of an idea of like what he's doing.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Irvir hit it. I'm not even gonna ask for a roll. Like, yeah, divination magic, scrying, and other various methods of even telling the future. But yeah, she could have been watching you from afar, or she could have known you were coming.
Well, I'm down to hear what she has to say.
We're fish out of water here. If Irina says it's probably fine,
Yeah,
willing to bet it's
yeah,
probably fine.
She's trustworthy, so.
Fair enough.
And then I guess if you, Narlock, if you are hungry, they didn't have pies though, but they did offer me some meat.
I guess so suffice. Should get food before a long journey.
Right. Yeah. So if you kind of divvy that up, you can all have a snack. And Irina will take some too. You know, if you're waiting to see if she trusted the food, she'd happily have a bit. But yeah, I'll kind of wind your way back up towards the encampment. And I think as you get up here, Irina actually would kind of peel off and would go actually greet a few of them. God, I lost her token again. Like to the point of like addressing them by name, like, "Oh, Vana, it's been too long." Like gets into a conversation with a few of the guys at the and they all recognize her seemingly, and real quick, it's the usual 6 people asking one person, that kind of stuff. Oh, I cut out there again, didn't we? God damn Discord, fucking internet bullshit. Anyway, yes, they are immediately embroiled in a friends catching up kind of conversation, and she seems right at home among these people. And
That's reassuring.
Madame Eva's just waiting patiently outside of the front of her tent, little bent hands folded in, sort of absent smile on her face.
I don't care if she knows I'm a dog. I like being a dog, so I'm just gonna stay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, if you stay a dog, she'll probably reach a pat on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. But once you are all assembled, she would gesture for you to please do come in. This is a conversation that I think best remain between the 5 of us. And as she kind of pushes open the tent flap and welcomes you in, you see that magic flames cast a reddish glow over the interior of the tent, revealing a low table covered in black velvet. Glints of light seem to flash from a crystal ball on the table as her hunched figure seats down and peers into its depth. Finally, you've all arrived. Perhaps we can discuss your purpose here in And we have 2 options. We can end there, or we can push on for. But I gotta call it not too far after. What would you
Give us
guys
the drawing, bro.
prefer? All right. Spoilers. Um,
Can't fucking blue ball me like that while we're right in front of it. Are you kidding me?
I mean, this
Go ahead.
it's almost like a cliffhanger.
It is. Um, there you
Leaves
go.
the end with intrigued.
That's fine. I'll push through it.
Oh.
It'll end with intrigue, but I will have to chop in not too long just because tomorrow. I know you all must find yourselves dreadfully confused. There's very trap beyond mists does, but unlike so many others, I have seen you coming, and I believe that perhaps it means that you may be ones to turn back the tide and to, well, potentially free us all. Mists. Oh, no, I missed the tongue. Um, if you will forgive me working a bit of my magic, I believe I can elucidate some of what you must do here. No doubt you've surmised that it is Lord Strahd that keeps these lands in his terrible grip. And clearly, if you are to be free to go, you must defeat him. But with your help and your presence, I can ask the Terraka to help me explain how that may occur. And with that, she takes the crystal ball and its little wrought iron, fixture, and actually picks it up and sets it aside. No need for baubles. You're all good enough for the real thing. And she'll reach inside of and produce a little black bag, which you can see is about the size of a deck of cards. And they're beautiful. Honestly, they're not like a typical, bland playing card. They have a very detailed backing and a slight bit of gold leaf around the edges. if you could all pass these between you, each of you at least must touch them, even if you don't have paws or don't have hands and then still have paws. Yes, yes, you do. And she'll stretch the hind ears again. But the important thing is that your essence must give me. And she will hand them first to, one of you that's sitting next to her. Kind of expect you to pass it around. If you want to thumb through them, you can. But you would see that the cards have like very, very detailed ink illustrations on them. Not just like numbered cards like you'd expect whatever you'd play poker with in a tavern. These are akin to tarot cards. And yeah, they feel kind of cold almost in your hand, despite the fact that she was keeping them like inside of her shirt where they should have kept temperature. And as they're kind of being passed around, she would turn to you. It's truly remarkable traveled to find these. I'm sorry that after your just
Breaking up for a lot of this.
God damn it. One second.
You turned to someone. I didn't catch a name, and then something about a shame.
He had to travel that land. I heard that.
1 second.
Land had
I'm
to be
just gonna
traveled.
switch to my phone so that at least for this I can get through this in a more reasonable fashion. Just a sec.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good. Apologies. Fucking technical difficulties. She turns to you, Arvir, and says, I'm sorry that you've traveled so far to come here, and yet you cannot rest yet. I know that you must be tired after such a long journey. And as the cards are kind of, I guess, booped on Yakobachi's nose or whatever it might be.
Just a boop.
And you, my dear, hopefully you'll find some answers here, or at least the quarry that you seek. Cards passed along to Narlug. And you, if it is arcane secrets that you seek, well, the castle's libraries hold many of those, though it might be difficult for you to get to them without some, well, demonstration of your abilities. And you, Ralmir, a winding road. That is certainly what you've walked, and I know it has not always been easy along the way. But your clear and clever wit, as you demonstrated outside, it will surely see you through. And as you pass the cards back to her, she will shuffle them, bridge shuffle first, and then kind of cut them a couple times. And the last time she goes to bridge shuffle them, when she bends the deck to bring everything back together, she'll stretch her hands apart and the cards arc. Like almost too slowly to be a regular card trick. Like there's a definite sense of magic to what she's doing as she manipulates them. And let us see. The way this works is quite simple, you see. Now that the cards have been infused with your energy, we will be able to peer into your future by drawing them from the top of the deck. And quickly she lays out 5 cards in a cross-like shape. They're face down at first. You can kind of see their elaborate backings. This first card will tell of history. Knowledge of the ancients will help you to better understand your enemy. And she will flip over the first card. I see. Myrmidon. The 5 of Swords. The treasure of knowledge lies in the shrine of Mother Night. Look for a den of wolves in the hills overlooking a mountain lake. I'll give you these later, just so you guys have them for your notes. The second card tells of a powerful force for good and protection, a holy symbol of great hope that will aid you in your journey. She'll flip that over. The philanthropist. Curious. Look to a place where sickness and madness are bred, where children once cried, the treasure lays still. The third card is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of pure sunlight. Should flip that card over. The 9 of Stars, the Conjurer. She focuses for a second. I see a dead village drowned by a river, ruled by one who has brought great evil into this world. And here she hesitates as she goes to flip over the 4th card. This card will shed light onto one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. The artifact. Curious, she thinks. Search for an entertaining man with a monkey. This man is more than he seems, and he will be a staunch ally in your fight to come. And the last card, she places her hand over it and jolts back almost like she's been shocked. And you can see she looks surprised. That does not bode well. Your enemy is a creature of darkness, whose powers are beyond mortality. This card should help lead you to him. And she almost nervously reaches out and flips over one final card. And you can see her like, the mists. The cards cannot see where the evil lurks. The mists obscure all. That is concerning. Never yet have I failed to identify this. It may take time for the weave of this place to acclimate to your presence. While I trust the other 4 cards, if you return to me in perhaps 3 days' time, I may be able to narrow down where exactly your foe lurks. But for now, go with this knowledge. 3 things you must find that will rally your strength in order to face this great evil, and an ally to assist you. If you collect them all, I have faith that you will be the ones to finally triumph against our Dark Lord. And she'll sit back and in a very quick motion, literally like scoop all 5 cards, and the deck and them disappear back into her shirt very quickly. The Teroka often speak through me. It has been my responsibility for many, many years to watch this encampment, this pool, and guide Mistwalkers from beyond. Though I do not believe in the past I have ever seen such a promising group of young faces. This is not magic. This is not fate. This is just a gut feeling from me now. But I firmly believe that you 4 can be relied upon. Though first, you must guide dear young Irina to a place of safety. For while she may not be the ally you seek, if you allow her to fall into Strahd's clutches, there will be dark days upon us all. And she sits back, and as she does, the accoutrement of her little ritual here cleared from the table, you can almost feel like a lowering of the pressure in the room, as though some presence that was here is now gone. And she sits back and takes a few deep breaths, as though this has really drawn something out of her. And she'll reach for a little cloth and kind of dab her little granny forehead. I cannot force you to listen to what I have said here today, nor can I force you to adhere to this mission. But most importantly, what you 4 have brought with you lays not in a sheath at your side or on a chain around your neck, but it is the hope that you will instill in those that you cross paths with. This is a bleak place, a land of misery and gloom, and yet there is a radiance that exudes from each of you, a hope that you will spread to the populace. And in doing so, I believe you soften their hardened hearts and weaken Strahd's grip upon us all. I thank you for being willing and trusting enough to come and see what the cards have to say. I do hope I didn't startle you all too much. Sometimes I forget that not everybody can see ahead as I do. And she'll sit back and just smile kind of pleasantly at all of you looking around the room. Bark. No.
I was gonna say I'll do that dog thing where like the dog like kind of puts their head on your lap and like has their ears back and like kind of senses like it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, on her lap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, like for like anxiety relief.
Yeah,
thing?
it's like it's okay.
And she would smile and would, again, reach down and kind of scratch you behind your ears. And funnily enough, I think would probably reach into like a little pouch on her hip and pull out like a little piece of jerky. And just, she knows you're not a dog, but you're clearly enjoying being a dog. So she's going to play along and she will just feed you a treat under the table as she kind of scratches you behind the ears.
Damn, Saki's getting table scripts.
Mm-hmm. But to the 3 of you that can carry a conversation, she will look around, just seemingly willing to answer questions if need be. But whether or not you have any is up to you.
Ruby will look extremely befuddled and probably not sure what to make of any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he will ask, since you seem so knowledgeable about so much else, where is the best place for us to take Arena for her safety?
I'm afraid that I cannot give you a certain answer, but I can tell you of the options that have been considered. I believe that the Abbey of St. Markovia is probably more in line with both your desires and hers. The church that lies in Valaki is a shadow of its former self. While the priest still believes, and so does the congregation, well, the bones of the place are not what they once were. I'm afraid hallowed ground it is not.
Well, that settles that.
And I will make a handout for you guys for these, but if you would
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to dump the 5 into
Things.
chat.
Yeah.
The way that it's laid out in my notes includes the DM spoilers, so I can't just copy paste. Also, just so that you guys know, this is random and it is different every time, meaning that Mike has, I believe, not seen any of these results despite being in another.
I don't know. I've never seen any of these results. I would 100% know what one of them is. The others, I have no fucking idea.
You think you
But,
know the
like,
ally?
Yeah. Yeah, that one I think I almost yeah, I think that one would be obvious to a lot of people, and it'll probably be obvious if or when it comes up.
But me and Zach acting like the monkey man.
Yes.
That would be funny though.
Gotta find a monkey.
And one more.
Just,
But yeah, in the interest of having the cards ready with art, because I don't know for sure how they work when you just click roll, and I didn't know what information it might give you guys when I just click roll. I actually have a printed Taroka deck that I made for the first time I ran this mod, so I dug it out, dealt it out, and saw what happened.
I'm just copying and pasting this and then putting it in the shared player notes.
Sure.
Oh, it is funny that your last card could be, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm. It is rare. It's not only is that a face card in the higher Taroka, which means it's like rare among the rare cards, it is accompanied by the artifact for 0.4 there is one of the Jokers as well. So this is an unusually rare draw.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 have numbers, 2 don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the upper and lower Taroka. So the deck is actually more than 52 cards. And so the way the draw is done as a DM is the first 3 are from the lower, and then the second 2 are from the higher.
Yeah.
So there's a limited pool for each section, but it is fully random. The mod can do a whole bunch of really crazy stuff, and it is possible to get absolutely boned, which is part of why I wanted to draw in advance so that you guys didn't get the world's shittiest draw, because the 3 artifacts can literally be in the castle where you'd have to go past the fated encounter, like the 5th card where you find him. Literally, you could have no ally. All 3 artifacts spawn in like the basement of the castle, and you face Strahd guaranteed every time in the front entryway.
Oh,
Right.
man, that's
And
not good.
that would suck.
Is
So I
that
wanted
even
to prevent that from happening.
Exactly.
is that even possible to do? Like get
Yes.
through?
Some good
Oh,
role
to
play.
get through, yes, but you'd have to be very clever about it. I can't say more, but yes, there are
Right,
ways
right.
to get around that. But yeah, anyway, she would, you know, answer your question about where you should take Irina. But you can tell she's not at all like demanding that you ask more. Um, you get this kind of vibe from her, like she feels as though she's done her part and is willing to assist further, but that was the information you all needed to hear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any other questions, so
Yeah, I'm good. Malar will lead
Fair
me.
enough.
and thanks for complimenting me on my scam and not kicking me out.
You'll find that, as I believe you were told, coin must be earned. The definition of earned is a little bit flexible. You should smile widely. They are still, unfortunately, like the stereotype that they are clearly wedged into. Scamming, well, it's only wrong if you get caught.
Facts.
Otherwise, they don't even know.
And she would kind of pat your hand, Rolmir. I have faith that the next time it'll work for you. And if any of you would care to return, be there more questions from you, or if you would like me to consult the Taroka again once both I and the cards have rested, well, you'll know where to find me.
So definitely something to keep in mind.
Is there something we can offer you in return for your assistance?
She would actually kind of, her expression's been very smiley and grandmotherly this whole time. And there's a moment where her face shifts more to like proper sorrow. Though I am forbidden from fully explaining my connection to our Dark Lord, I will say, while I know he must be slain, and I know that he has wrought a great amount of evil in this world, my one request would be, yes, that you release us, but that you release us with as little cruelty inflicted upon him in return as possible. I understand this may seem an odd request, but despite all this time, I cannot truly wish ill upon Strahd von Zarovich.
I actually got a question that came up though. Do you know Strahd like well, or is it just through your like fortune telling ability?
She smiles kind of wistfully, and as I said, there are certain things that I am not only forbidden by oath, but forbidden by magic from sharing. The mists that make up this place have worked themselves deep into my soul. But I believe I would be permitted to simply say, yes, I know him quite well. I regret that this is how the rules must be observed. And if I could, I would tell you all you seek. But alas, the mist will not permit it. And she would kind of hang her head momentarily. A little bit of a grimace. Interestingly, this looks like a regular old lady. She did say hundreds of years. And she appears to be human.
That's odd.
Um,
Wolf.
what if I pull out the mirror? Am I going to see her reflection?
You could do that, but also there are all sorts of shiny baubles already in this room,
Oh, okay.
and you can see her reflected in them.
Okay. I just
She
wanted
also
to.
doesn't have fangs. Like she has gold teeth, but they're not the canines. She has regular
Oh
teeth.
yeah,
as far as
you
can see.
when you brought up like the teeth thing, you were breaking up. So
Sorry. Yeah, she has like several gold teeth on the upper right, like basically the molars, and then two more in front of them, and then she's got one down over here.
okie dokie.
Good thinking, though. Can't hurt to confirm. But whatever she did say something too, and you get the feeling she might not be able to explain something about the mists working their way inside her.
Right.
Could be some other kind of curse or blessing or who knows what. And she did say she's been the guardian of this encampment and watching the pool for that amount of time. Maybe there's just something that fate has decided she must do.
I'll definitely get a good sniff of her before I go, nonchalantly, like any dog would.
Sure. Make sure that you know her scent.
Yeah.
Sure. Knowing what I know about Madame Eva, she probably smells, well, like a dusty old lady, but also strongly of oranges and cloves. And there's definitely a hint of liquor there, too.
Mm.
And seeing like the kind of, I'm assuming that this expression is in character, Irvir. I've seen you doing that a lot, but also it feels like his immediate reaction.
Probably a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of like small, insignificant conversations that can be had, but it's like, well, I don't know what any of this shit means. Other, yeah, the only thing I thought was like, yeah, I'd probably go on some rant about how you shouldn't make people fear death. So of course, Strahd being ushered onto the next plane of existence as a part of his journey would not be done out of cruelty but kindness.
And if that is something he would say, and again, if you're condensing that down into,
I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. I think she'd pat you on the hand as well, and just, I'm glad that one such as yourself understands this. While, as I said, he may have inflicted great and perhaps even untold cruelty on the people of these lands, I agree. I don't think anybody should be ushered into the great beyond with any more malice than is necessary. It is an act of great kindness that you would be doing, not just for him, but for all of us as well. A release. You saying that only redoubles my belief that you are the ones. Thank you.
He has unfortunately postponed the second part of his journey. But the great guide is both merciful and just. Greet him upon the other side.
She nods. And what he chooses to do with such a soul, well, that will be for him to decide. But his passage, I can only hope, will be smooth. She smiles again, kind of wistfully. Well, I do not wish to risk all of you making your way into Valakid, well, after sundown. So if you'll forgive my brusqueness, I will offer you all a drink and some food for the road, if need be. But I think it'd be best that even if the town itself is no longer consecrated, you find a nice, sturdy building with which to have Irina spend the night. Otherwise, well, who knows what he might do to her.
That's all the warning I need. Thank you. Wherever you will. Jump from the seat.
Mm-hmm. And she will kind of shakily stand, and she'll place the crystal ball back on the table. And we'll follow you at least to the front of the tent. And yeah, just offer you kind of the final parting words of, though it may seem silly for one who can peer ahead into the great futures that may befall us all, I wish you all nothing but good luck. And I look forward to hearing of your exploits. Go safely and go swiftly. And she'll offer you just like a little half bow.
I'll just nod my head.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Both.
We will bow with Kellenborg guide you and join the others.
And I think we will pick up next session with all of you
Snarlock was
heading.
about to do something.
Oh, were you? I just saw the nod from Dave. Anything from you, Narlig?
Nope, just gonna nod and go.
Okay. In that case, yes, we will pick up next session with you all progressing down along the road. Thanks
I
for
put
playing,
an
everybody.
Event calendar up.
heck yeah.
I
That was
already
fun.
responded, but thank you for doing that.
Make a channel, please, and I'll just dump events in there.